Hello, my YouTube beauties. I think I'm gonna put this on Instagram too. Um, I just wanted to talk about it because I went to private school and I remember, now, me personally, I never had a problem with any of my teachers. My teachers liked me. However, I did have teachers that were mean to students due to religious reasons. And also, I know church people that are very mean. And what our society lacks empathy as a whole. And I wanted to talk about that a little bit today. What happened in Nashville is wrong. By no means, don't nobody come for me and say I'm defending the person. Please don't come for me. I'm not saying that the shooter was right for anything. You should never shoot innocent people, children. It was sad when they said substitute teacher and the custodian was one of the victims. The custodian probably, the fact that this individual was 28 and that means that they were harboring old feelings from when they was a child. And I wanted to talk a little about that because what people don't understand is some of these private schools are wicked, and some of these teachers in private schools are very mean. And I know firsthand, I've seen it, people in the church are very mean. Things that you do, mind you, they have a whole closet full of sin. But if you sin and do something wrong, you're the most evil person in the world. I remember this had to be 2012. And I'm going to say the name of the church because it needs to be said. Mount Sinai, Brooklyn, New York. And we were having Bible study, and a cross-dresser, a guy that was dressed as a woman, walked in. And everybody got quiet. And a girl I was cool with, her mother was like, the blood. And I was confused because I'm like, first of all, I was so turned off, I stopped going. I'm going to be honest, because first of all, if somebody's transgender, gay, whatever, aren't they supposed to come to church and learn that it's wrong? And that's what kind of pisses me off about church, because it's like you can't be real, you can't be yourself. Everybody has on a mask. You have people who have been to jail for some crazy stuff and nobody knows about it because everybody's wearing a freaking mask, and it's very annoying to me. And I'm a very spiritual person. I worship God in my house, and I worship God on my own time. I don't go to church every Sunday because people are so fake. Right now in 2023, people are fake. And this is what happens. This is a result of what happens when a person doesn't receive love and caring. They harbor these feelings. This person probably was dealing with demons from childhood, and they took it out on the innocent, and that's wrong. But the real issue is religious people are very mean, and those are the facts. They are very mean and very hypocritical. Right? I remember being in high school and my English teacher, my classmate, got raped, and she didn't believe her, right? And I was confused because I'm like, you supposed to be Christian. And then the dean of the school now, he made a joke about it, and I'll just never forget that because I'm like, here y'all are Christian and religious, my classmate got raped and y'all think it's a joke, and that I never forgot that because it's like, that's so wicked, right? Then I remember a girl I grew up with in my building. She went to Catholic school, and she told me how the nuns were very verbally abusive to her. And they would say things like, oh, you're never going to amount to anything. And I said, well, did you tell your grandmother? Because I'm like, your grandmother paying tuition. Like, no teacher should ever say that. And she wasn't just saying it to the girl I grew up with. She said they were saying it to the whole classroom full of girls. It was St. Joseph School of downtown Brooklyn, St. Joseph all-girls school. And I said, oh my God, her name was Amina. I said, Amina, that's so terrible. She's like, yeah, girl, Catholic school with these nuns and stuff, they're very mean. So I totally get it. Me and my coworker, right before she left, she said, oh, it was a private school. So that's what intrigued me. And I just looked it up on the internet. Listen, some of these teachers in these private schools, from my little experience, that me being a parent of public school, the teachers are not that mean. Private school teachers are very mean. Very mean. I remember being in 7th grade. Like I said, with me personally, they wasn't mean to me. One particular teacher when I was in 7th grade, she just used to pick on me all the time for no reason. Her name was Miss McCullough, and she did not like me for nothing. And it was just weird. But I know firsthand from how I've seen my classmates get treated, these private school teachers are off the hook, and they are very horrible to the kids. And a lot of the times it be religious reasons. Luckily my high school, we had a few gay, I wouldn't say a few, maybe like 2 or 3 gay guys. The teachers never really said anything or whatever. We had a dyke in our school. Nothing was said. So yeah, in my high school, there were lesbians and they dressed up as boys, and my administration and the teachers, they didn't bother them. And the gay boys, I had gay boys in my school, nobody bothered them for the most part. The funny thing is, they bothered us, well, the gay boys. Like, they always wanted to fight one of the girls and stuff like that. So I don't know if this is a case of that, because you have some people, they don't get bullied or nothing, but they are the bullies. But I see it from both ends of the spectrum. I know firsthand that now my school experience was pretty good. I didn't really get bullied or nothing. But in church, I got, people tried to bully me, but I always stood up for myself. In church now, in church. I remember this one girl in my teen years, I guess she was jealous of me or whatever. She was short, dark, and fat. And she always had something to say. And I was like, watch your mouth. I always got on her case, because you're not about to punk me and you like 5 years young. I think she was like 3 or 4 years younger than me. But regardless of age, you're not about to sit here and punk me. So me and her used to go at it in church. Mind you, we both was in a choir. And it's funny because we friends on Facebook now, but I couldn't stand her. She couldn't stand me in church now. And I remember being in church and people used to clown me because my parents didn't have a car. Like, that's another thing about church. If you don't have money, or if you don't have, like, I had nice clothes, but if they see that there's a lack, like your parents don't have a car, whatever, they will clown you. They will clown you. So you have to be a strong personality to go to church. I don't give a fuck what nobody say. Especially the black church, you have to be a strong personality, because if you're weak, your self-esteem could go down just by going to church. So when people say stupid stuff like, oh, you gotta go to church, listen, there's a lot of things that go into that. You can't just go to church. People are there to be mean. I'm gonna call it like I see it. People are mean, or let's say if I'm a person, I don't carry cash, I have to prepare to go to church, right? And sometimes, me personally, it's not that I don't have the money, but I might forget to take the cash out. I'm not going to church. You know why? Because when you don't have money to put in that basket, they're going to talk about you and they're going to say, oh, you broke. How do I know? Because I used to go to church heavy. I was in a choir and all of that. And for the adults who didn't have no money to put in, people would talk about them like, oh, sister so-and-so, oh, look at that outfit. Look at that bag she got, but she can't put no money in the basket. Who wants to go through that on a weekend? I'm being so serious. I don't want to go through that on a weekend. I don't have time for it, because I will curse you out and I have no filters. Because as far as I'm concerned, I'm off the clock. I say what I want to say. Once I'm at work, I'm one way. When I come out of work, anybody who know me, I have no filter. I'm not gonna let you sit here and just talk to me any old kind of way. It's Sunday too, early in the morning, I'ma check you. And I would never let somebody bully me as grown as I am. I'm not letting it go down. But I said that to say this. It's sad that what happened, but we don't know the story. And regardless of what happened, it's time to be prayerful. It's not time to judge. People might look at the situation, oh, trans, da-da-da. But the disconnect between the trans and everybody else, a lot of people judge them. And at the end of the day, they're people too. You don't know what that trans went through. You don't know what happened in that trans childhood for them to feel like I'm going to come to the school and shoot people. It's a mental health issue. Yes, obviously for you to be 28 years old and you're going to go back to your elementary school, that's a sickness, definitely. But we as a people, we need to be more sensitive to people in the church. I'm talking to church people right now. Some of y'all are mean. I've seen so many things in the church. I'm not talking about school now. I'm talking about church. I've seen people walk in the church and get laughed at by other grown people. And it's like you sit there and it's like, are we in high school or are we in church? And let me tell you, church hurt is real. Church hurt will have you thinking something wrong with you. Church hurt will really, if you're not a strong person, it'll lower your self-esteem. My son been bullied in church as well. He's been bullied as well. So he stopped going, not on purpose, but he's in step and stuff like that. And he's in high school. And since COVID, they don't have like Sunday school and stuff. But I remember my son coming home. Like I stopped going because like it's boring. And also I don't want to be a hypocrite. That's how I see it. Like they say it's a sin to fornicate, right? So I don't feel like it's right for me to fornicate and lust after a man and go to church every Sunday. And then there's things in the Bible I just don't agree with. I'm gonna be honest. They say you're not supposed to wear polyester with wool. They say also there's a scripture in the Bible that say you're not supposed to wear braids. There's so many things in the Bible I just don't agree with, and I'm bold enough to say it. Other people may not admit it, but there's things in there I just don't agree with. I don't. And then on top of that, I feel like relationship with self and relationship with God is more important than church attendance. Like, you know how many people go to church and they don't believe in God? You know how many people go to church and they don't want to be there? They just go because it's like, if I don't go, then people going to think I'm not saved. I could give two rats butts if people think I'm saved or not. I know I'm saved, and I know I'm a good person, and that's all that matters. I don't sit there and judge people. I don't sit there and do none of that people do in the church, laughing at people. It's all type of craziness that happens in church that I've been through just as a kid. I remember being a kid, and I had on some nice sparkling heels, and it was thick and black, and the girls was talking about some, oh, she thinks she all of that. And I was like, thank you. I know I'm all of that. But mind you, I'm in the 5th grade. And I told my father, and my father laughed it off. But I'm like, I don't have to go through that. And when I was in school, I was the it girl. I was the popular girl in school, elementary to high school. So when I came to church and I had to argue with people and I had to basically defend myself, it was weird. I'm like, yo, I don't even go through this. Now I had my arguments with the gay guys in high school, but overall I had friends. Everybody was cool with me. Everybody liked me in school. But for some reason in church, I was arguing with people. I had to defend myself. People was clowning my parents because they didn't have a car. Like, it was crazy. It was like, why am I going through this? And then church just got whack on its own. Like, once I got 19, everybody was going away to school. All of us got grown and had kids. So, yeah. What was I saying? Yeah, so when I was in church, I had to fight, or whatever. And, not physically, but I had way more, I feel like I had way more disconnects and arguments in church than school. School is school. You're going to have your arguments and people going to hate on you. But that should never go down in church. So that's why I say with this school shooting thing and the school church combined, we don't know what that person went through in their childhood with that school church. They need to do an investigation on that school and church. Yes, that person is wrong for shooting up people, innocent people, yes. But I'm very curious now because I went to private schools and I was raised in the church. So for somebody to have that reaction, obviously it was a mental health issue, but if you don't, I had positive people around me. I had a religious mother, religious parents. I grew up in the church and I went to a private school, so I totally get it. If you don't have, if your mental health is not intact, you can go crazy. I don't care what nobody say. Too much religion could make you crazy. How do I know? I see it with my own eyes. People that's too deep in the church, when you talk to them, they're crazy. They don't have a sense of the real world. They say things like, oh, if you lust after a man, that's a sin. Who not gonna lust after a man? Like, what? If I see Boris Kojo in swimming trunks, yes, I'm gonna lust after him. If that makes me a sinner, so be it. Like, you know what I'm saying? That's not even normal to say that. And people take the Bible too seriously. Like, the Bible, at the end of the day, was written by human beings. It's bound to contradict itself. I'm an author. I write. I contradict myself. So you think the Bible is not going to contradict? Of course it's going to contradict itself. A lot of stuff in there make perfect sense, like the end times, Revelation. I'm not saying don't read the Bible, but a lot of stuff is in there that was written to control people. You got families right now that don't speak to one another because of religion. Like my mom's side of the family, there's a disconnect because I don't go to church every Sunday. So they look at me like, my mom don't talk to them anyway, but they crazy. But I was just saying, like, they're supposed to be holy. They call themselves holy, like they're holy, this and that. I'm like, first of all, no one's holy. That's blasphemy because all have sinned and come short of the glory of God. But they're so religious that they don't have a sense of reality. And that causes mental health problems. I don't care what nobody says. It causes mental health problems that on a daily basis, it's like you're striving to be perfect. Listen, I don't care how much money you have. I don't care your socioeconomic status. I don't care about none of that. None of us will ever be perfect. So for you to strive to be this perfect Christian is never going to happen. Gossiping is a sin. Looking down on people is a sin. Lying on people, ladies and gentlemen, is a sin. But you worried about the person that's going to, what's wrong with, where in the Bible does it say you can't have a good time and go to a bar or club? Where in the Bible does it say that? Even if it did say that, why is it that someone has to be in bondage to be in Christ? You can't have any fun. You can't do this. You can't. No, that's wrong. And then what happens is people end up having mental illnesses. And then you turn into this. How many gay men is in the church? Donnie McClurkin. Yesterday I sang Great Is Your Mercy, my favorite song from him. He's gay. And he can't be himself. That's sad. Like, I can only imagine what that's like. But because of religion, oh, well, that's a sin. Guess what? We all sin. If he wants to be with a man, then he should explore that. You have so many people that's in therapy right now on medication because they have a war within themselves. And I wrote that in my book, those of y'all who purchased. A war within themselves. You know, he wants to be with men, but he can't because of religion. What kind of, that doesn't make sense to me. If that's who he loved, that's who he loved. Do you think God actually cares about that? You know, look at what's going on in the world with shootings and war and stuff. Don't you think that's more important? You know, black people as a people, we're behind the 8 ball economically. Yeah, we got a few billionaires and millionaires, but the money's not coming back to us. Don't you think God cares more about that or us treating each other right? You know, fathers being in the home or fathers being in the children's lives. There's so many issues that we have as a people. You think he gonna care about somebody being gay? Like, come on now. You know, we worry about the wrong things. This is the last time. We should be loving on each other. And then if it's a sin, teach that person, hey, X, Y, Z. You don't judge them and condemn them, because that's going to make them stray even further. You know, you got too many people that got kids out of wedlock and they in church every Sunday. Somebody's not teaching them anything, but just come to church every Sunday. No, you got 4 and 5 kids out of wedlock. Somebody needs to tell you that, you know, you should cherish your body. You know, why is it that you don't think you're worth more than a baby mama? We need to start having real talks in church. And then that could start the healing process. And then you won't have someone that's a trans that want to shoot up a church and a school. You know? So we as a church, we got to get it together.